Okay, here in part 3 we are going to the fifth dimension, so please be sure that you listened or viewed the part 1 and part 2 and you understand it, because otherwise you might get a little bit lost. So here, as a brief repeat, understand that all dimensions are stacked upon each other, or at this is overlapping each other, and it is your perspective on that moment in that time that are giving you a certain outcome. So the third dimension is a linear timeline where there is no deviation possible between the point A, the beginning and the end, and the sequencing of the photos or the frames on your path, on your timeline, are fixed. The fourth dimension, on the contrary, you highlight some of your photos or houses, as I spoke of, and you are focusing on those frames or photos or houses on that moment in time, although the sequencing of the third dimension is still ongoing. So you live all the time as you should experience in both the third and the fourth dimension consciously. So going to the fifth dimension, understand that the fourth and the third dimension are not hidden or away, nor that in the third and the fourth dimension where you are living at the moment, you think that the fifth dimension is not present. It is present. Every dimension is present, but you might not be aware of it. That means you are not focusing on it, or you are not having that kind of perspective. So adding a perspective means you ascend the dimension. You don't ascend anything, you become conscious about another dimension. So you are upgrading yourself, you are broadening your consciousness, which we call ascension. But ascension can be of any dimension to any dimension. Of course, we're not talking about descension. Okay, the fifth dimension. We have two main possibilities here. So if you see the picture which I presented to you is, and concerning the previous part number 2, here we see that we have a timeline, we have a street with several houses. In our fourth dimensional view, we said you have a street, you go through that street, and you are taking a photo, and or emotionally you're living sometimes longer, sometimes lesser in that house. So here, if you understand, there are more than one street, meaning the goal is still the same. The goal of the third and the fourth and the fifth dimension are the same. The same is you are evolving or going or experiencing something between point A and point B in this time, or in this perspective, your life, your birth, and your ending, your death. That is what you call the beginning or the end. And again, in the third dimension, we made that one street. But of course, if you imagine, if you're smart, you said, oh, wait, I don't have to go through the same street. So that means I don't have to be all the time the same person. I don't have to follow the same program, meaning like a chicken without a head going from A to B through that street. So what you do is wait. It might be interesting. It might be more convenient that I take another road. And again, it doesn't matter. I will arrive in point B. So forget about the length of the street. That is just 3D thinking. All streets have the same length. What you do in dimension 5 is you consider, hey, I've been going through this street. I consider that taking another street will get there easier, sooner, whatever you call it. So you take that second street. That is the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension is the opening of choice. What is not the choice? The choice is not, you cannot deviate from A and you cannot deviate from B. But the road in between, the houses you visit, the houses you live in, The photos you take might be different. That is the fifth dimension. Then, make use of your gray cells. So we have a possibility of more than one street. That is what we call a parallel life. A parallel life is a person like you who is going from A to B, the same A and the same B, but not taking your street at this moment. So practically that means when you're on a crossroad and you're considering, should I go left, should I go right, whatever, and you decide to go left. Your parallel life self might choose to go right. So in the end, and take your gray cells into account, you went both sides. So there is a you that went left, and there is a you that went right, and so nothing happened. The one that went left has a three-dimensional experience and a fourth-dimensional experience, and now a fifth-dimensional experience, the left one. The parallel life left. The same happens when in that moment in time you consider to go right. So there is a copy of you, whatever you call it, that is going right, and he arrives at B, and he will have different photos, different experiences, but he will arrive in B. So now we have two people, which are two yous, two parallel yous, that have the same base intention to go from A to B, will arrive at B, but have a total experience between them. And now I only said there are only two, but there might be a million streets between A and B. These are then a million parallel lives of you. Knowing you have that choice, that means I can consider, oh wait, I want to go left here. So someone else is going right, not you. At another crossroad, before arriving at B, you consider, oh, I can go here left or right, the same thing. And now you consider to go right. So another parallel life goes left. And so that adds and adds and adds and adds. And these are your five-dimensional limits. Your five-dimensional limits are, you are limiting yourself between A and B. That's the limit. How you get there, that is your freedom. That is the freedom you have in 5D. So meaning, in your 3 and 4 dimensional life, you consider, oh wait, I choose from my authenticity to change my life because I want to. Then you consider you have to have a vibration high enough, so you must be conscious enough to make that decision. When that option is not there, you are, so to speak, too low in vibration. Then you're, so to speak, stuck in the third or in the fourth. So waking and opening and expanding your consciousness, that on one time you consider, oh wait, whoever I am, wherever I am, whatever I do, I can make my choice. And that is the ascension part number one. It's not linear time anymore. that processes you and said, no, no, you have to take this road. You can start taking the road you want, but that you must be mastering linear time. You must be flexible enough, and that means you have to go what we call on the soul level and experience that possibility. So you must be conscious that there is a choice. If you're not experiencing that choice, there is something wrong, and that is the struggle. But in the end, it does not matter that much, because there will be a third dimensional parallel you that will go all possible streets and visit all possible houses, and all those are a package of parallel lives within the constraint of the fifth dimension. Option number 2 in the fifth dimension. Repeat. The first option was I am constrained between A and B, this life. But within this life, I can produce, evolve to a broader authenticity and say, I want to take that road and then that road and that road, and I will choose the roads, the houses, the experiences, but I will arrive at B on my account. That was option 1. Option 2 is we break through the constraint between A and B. Understand? The third dimension still exists. The fourth dimension still exists. The fifth dimension, option 1, still exists. Now we add just another option, that is, you can start from A but go to C. Or you can start from B. So you create, no, let's keep it simple. You start from A, but you're not going to B this time, but you opened up your own conscious possibility, go to C or D or E or F. Then, of course, your roadmap is different. There you consider, okay, wait. I've had all those parallel lives, and I've been many times from A to B. I want an upgrade, I want to change, I'm bored, I want to go to C. And if you have that vibrational opening, when you have that consciousness, and then you decide, oh wait, let's go to C today, this life, this timeline. And that's what you do, option 2. The consequence of this is that, of course, the mapping of parallel lives AB are different. And that is called basically reincarnation. It's more than that, but reincarnation means that you want to have an experience. You want to do something. But you don't have to do at the same thing. It's not always a repeat. It's an add and an add and an add and an add. And here the constraint is we start from A. And I try to keep it simple. So all your reincarnations which have the same constraint, is the starting point. And in that fifth dimension, when you can say, I don't want to go to B, but I want to go to C or whatever, then you get aware by default that someone new went to B. Because it's important here. Because the constraint is A. So the soul part, let's say, that is collecting all the A starting point experiences is managing that. So it is in that soul part interesting and benevolent that you know all those experiences, or at least the main things or the main spots, is it, oh wait, you've been to B, so think about that. If you know this reincarnation, your past life, even your future life, then you understand, wait. I can build on my experience of AB to build up a sequential set of lives starting from A but another destination. That is the opening and then the ascension of 5B. But here, I repeat, here you're going from A to C. Those have all those parallel lives, considering of option 1 of dimension 5, deviating within the constraint of AC. Add those ones, the parallel lives and everything you got from AB. Add that, the fourth dimension, when you highlight in every parallel life some house, add that you are still living somewhere in the third dimension, and there is someone who is going through that street and taking every photo that is possible, living every house that is possible, highlight it or not. That is a perspective on the fifth dimension. So, the fifth dimension is an expansion of the fourth, is an expansion of the third, and they're all here and now.